Okay, today we're going to start Amar Rachva. This is, let's say, 8 lines from the bottom. On Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis, 33b. Thank Hashem that you're able to learn Torah every day. We're learning Hashem.
Thank you, Hashem.
And interesting, the Gemaras that we're going to learn, be very careful that we don't make any decisions based on them, because there's other Gemaras that say differently, and then we have to analyze, and then which one is the halacha, and it comes out things that we're not familiar with. So it's sort of difficult to swallow. Really, we say that. Okay, so it's like this. Amar Rachva, Amar Rav Yehuda. Rachva says in the name of Rav Yehuda. Rav Yehuda was a student of Rab and Shmuel. It says Behar Ziki. No, they always do that. All his ches is always with the H with a dot under it or something. That's Behar Ziki. Behar Ziki. Chayav b'shtei mezuzos. This room called Behar Ziki requires 2 mezuzos. The Gemara asks, "My Behar Ziki, what is this Behar Ziki?" Amar Rav Papa Mishmei Rav. Amar Papa Saba Mishmei Rav. This is the older Rav Papa. The typical Rav Papa is a student of Abai and Rava. This is Rav Papa Saba, says in the name of Rav, Beis Shar HaPesuach L'Chatzer. This Behar Ziki is a small room, just like a guardhouse, that is open to the courtyard on one side. However, on the other side, there's houses that are open to the Beis Shar. So the chiddush over here is that it requires 2 mezuzos. Why is that a chiddush? It's 2 doors. Why is 2 mezuzos? It says no, because there's I could have said that you don't have to put a mezuzah on the side of the courtyard because it's bottled to the house. Chiddush is that you don't say that.
Is that why we don't have one here?
What do you mean? We don't have mezuzah?
We don't have it on the gate, no.
The reason why you don't have a mezuzah on the gate is because you don't have a mezuzah on an open area.
Okay.
If it's not roofed, if the area is not roofed, there's no roof, you don't need a mezuzah.
But it says up on the house and on the gates.
So what type of gate would that be? That would probably be a gate of the gates like they have in Jerusalem, where they have a big gateway. It's like a room that you enter in.
I see.
You know what I'm talking about? You know.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not referring to the gatehouse. He's asking about the gates. It says Visharecha on your gates. He's thinking that a gate means a gate of a courtyard, which usually just means like a fence around the thing with it. So it probably means the gates, like the gates of like the city gates, where you have to walk in, there's a whole room at gates. Have you been to Israel? When you walk into Jerusalem, you have the gates that you walk through. It's not just like a little arch. You walk through. It's like a small room that very high ceiling, and you walk in. Okay.
I was there 30 years ago.
I'm sorry. They have gates like that. I don't think so. They have doors. Okay. We didn't have mezuzahs in the Beis Hamikdash. I think it says
it isn't.
We didn't quite know because it says Beisecha. It says your house. Tanu Rabbanan was taught in a brisa Beis Shar Psuach Legina L'Kitainus. Let's say there's a Beis Shar. This is a guardhouse that's open to the garden. And it's also open to a small room on the other side. It's like a Kitainus is usually like a storage room, like a little room that's on the other side. But here it's a small room. So Rabbi Yossi Kitainus. Rabbi Yossi says that you assume that it's the whole house is like the kitainis, like the small room, and therefore both doors would require a mezuzah. The Chacham say that it's considered like a gate to the gina, to the garden, which does not require a mezuzah. Garden doesn't require mezuzah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rabbi Shmuel Damitavayu, this is a machlekes Tanoim. Comes along the Amoraim and discuss what the Tanoim are arguing about. Rabbi Shmuel Damitavayu, Rabbi Shmuel both say that Megina Labayis, there's different ways in Rashi how to explain this Gemara. And there's a commentary here that explains it a little bit different. Maybe he's trying to explain Rashi, maybe not. Anyway, you'll hear this pshat, and then you'll look at Rashi, you see what's going on. The notes have to be larger on this. It's a everyone would agree that if the way that this commentary is explaining it, if the heketzir, the way the doors open are inward, from the garden inward, and then into the kitainis inward, which means that what's the main room is the inside room, the guardhouse inside room. So then everyone would agree that you're chayiv, because we see which ways the doorways are headed. We're going into the main room, and the main room is the kitainis would be chayiv in mezuzah. My time, abiyah the bayasi, you're entering the house. Ki pligi, why is there a machlekes? When is there a machlekes? That's if the heketzir is headed outward. It's going out to the garden. Bayis lagina. Mar savar, this one holds tainasiker. Rabbi Yossi says it doesn't matter. The inside room is the main thing, so it's chayiv and mezuzah. Mar savar, but the chachamim say that the gina is the main thing, a gineker, and therefore it would be pater from mezuzah.
Why do our elevators?
I guess because of the elevator is considered a room. I'm sure it's the rabban. Well, if you don't have a door,
And it's a
it
pocket
has a door, huh?
Pocket door. It's a not room.
I don't know if that makes a difference. A pocket door, or I'm not sure what the Rambam said. Rambam says that doorways need to have a door to be chayiv mezuzah. If it made a difference, pocket doors or swinging doors or closing doors. Where did we say that? So we would assume the Rambam would hold that it has a door as well. Yeah, that's because we put a mezuzah there without a bracha because we don't follow the Rambam. That's the explanation.
Real quick question. The sukkah has a door. It still doesn't need a mezuzah because the sukkah is a mezuzah, right?
No, the
No?
sukkah doesn't need a mezuzah. You're asking a very good question. The sukkah doesn't need a mezuzah. It's a whole discussion. Good morning, Eliezer. Sukkah doesn't need a mezuzah because it's a dira sarai. It's a temporary dwelling. You don't need a mezuzah on a temporary dwelling, and only a permanent dwelling. It's a whole discussion, basically complicated discussion for those people that have sukkah roofs, that they have a dining room and they take off the roof for sukkahs and they put schach on top. And then after sukkahs, they take off the schach and they put the roof back on. The whole discussion, if the mezuzah that they had on the doorway needs to be removed and replaced, because while the roof was off, it was pater from mezuzah. And then when you put the roof back on, it becomes chayiv mezuzah, but the mezuzah was up already. It goes under the category of tasav alei menaseh, under the that you can't put the mezuzah up before you build the house, before it's built. It's a whole interesting discussion. It's machlekes in the place. I'm sure the people that do that, in New York, there's people that have removable roofs and all of that for sukkahs. But I'm sure there's a place can say what to do. But there's some machlekes in the earlier place.
Amen.
Going back to the elevator for a second.
Yeah.
You said it's because it's a room.
Yeah.
But when you go in the elevator on the first floor, the mezuzah is on the right side of the doorpost. When you leave the elevator, the same room, it's on the left side of the doorpost.
Coming up.
So, yeah, so how can the same room have a mezuzah on both sides of its doorpost just
There's two
because it
ways.
moved vertically?
Because I'll tell you the John. Putting the mezuzah there, the way you walk through the house. Get in on the downstairs, and you come out on the upstairs. You come in, it's on the right. You come out, it's on the right.
We have a big walk-in closet in the master bedroom. And you walk in, this is on the right. You walk out, there's only one way to walk
Well, that's
out.
because there's only one door. If there would be two doors, then you would put it on the right on the next door, which would be
By the way, it's
left.
the same door. It's just two different doorways because it's the same pocket door. It's open from here. Just bringing it up as I came up in the elevator, I said,
If it's
Does that mean we should walk out that
No.
door?
Dr. Stein is talking about the elevator and the
door,
shelf.
Rabbi?
That the downstairs the mezuzah is on the right. When you come out upstairs, the mezuzah is on the left.
But if there's two doors,
When you come out, it's on the right coming out. It's on the left going in. So I explained that it's the way you walk through the house, which is the third criteria of how do you put up a mezuzah. The derech hiluche, the way you walk through the house. That's the third way. If you don't have any other determining factor, if you don't have the heker tzir, then you would have that would be the other determining factor.
I just want to make sure you
Okay.
today.
Now that was the opinion of Rav and Shmuel, which Rav and Shmuel are gonna come back in a moment. Rabbi Rabbi Yosef Damar Tavayu, we're going back to a machlekes about a guardhouse that has two doors. We're on the bottom of 33b.
Yeah.
He says, "Mibayas lagina." If the heket tzir goes from the house into the garden, kolyam lipligi the potter. Everyone would say you're exempt. Exactly the opposite of Rav and Shmuel. Rav and Shmuel said that case was a machlekes. My timer, everyone would say pischad ginahu. That's the entrance to the garden. Kipligi. When do they argue? Migina labayas. If the doors are swinging into the kitainis, into the small room. Marsa Rabbi Yossi holds Bia de Bayasu. Okay. Oh, thank you. That it's the entranceway to the house. Marsavar Kula Adaita de Gino Davida, that everything was made, even the house was made as a protection for the garden. It's all for the garden. It's going to be pater mimazuzah. Even though you walk into the house, but the whole house is made for the garden.
Let's see what we're going.
Okay. So the Gemara now says, Abaya Rava Avdi Karabba Rabbi Yosef. Abaya and Rava, they're students of Rabba and Rabbi Yosef, so they said that this type of house is pater from mezuzah. If the doorways were going into the garden, right? If the doorways are entering into the garden. Rav Ashi Avid Karav Shmuel Lechumra. Rav Ashi did like Rav and Shmuel. Like Rav and Shmuel, which says that if the doorways enter into the house, then everyone agrees that you're chayav. If the doorways swing open inside, everyone agrees you're chayav. Let's say they swing open outside, then it's a machlekes between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yossi. The Rav Ashi goes like Rav and Shmuel lechumra, which means he takes the opinion of Rabbi Yossi over the Chachamim. But that's not a problem because Rabbi Yossi Nimuka Yimei, when it tells us that we Pascal and Rabbi Yossi always had the logic. Okay. Gemara concludes Hilchas Rav and Shmuel lechumra. The halacha is like Rav and Shmuel lechumra, which would tell us that you would need a mezuzah on a house, a small guardhouse, that one side enters into another room, one side enters into the garden, whether the doors go inwards or outwards. You need a mezuzah on.
The house is built like a bagel, square bagel. Inside is a garden. All right. So you really never go from the garden into the house because you only got there because you came from the house. And when you go out, so
that's a very good question.
Door, yeah, where's the mezuzah?
That's a very good question. Let me ask on the Zoom. Dr. Stein is asking, we always say that a door to the outside, the mezuzah is always on the right going in. Or no matter which way the door opens. Even if you have the Florida code, where the doors, all outdoor doors open outwards, the mezuzah is always on the right going in. What happens if you have a house that has a square bagel? That's a square circle, square bagel. That's the inside has like an outdoor room. In the center of the house is an out. Is that considered the outside where you would put the mezuzah walking in, or is that considered a room of the house where you put the mezuzah going there? That's a very good question. Could be.
Well, I'm not sure of the halacha on that, but if you cannot get from that garden to the outside, it's considered just another room without a roof.
Another
Because
room.
the whole idea usually of a garden is that there is that, in other words, it's not connected to, it's an outside part of the house. I don't know. It's a good question, Rennie. You finally got a good one.
I would do that.
So you can't put it going on the out, going on the right, going out, because that means that the room that you're entering into isn't chayav b'mezuzah. It have to go on the right going in.
You can't. Somehow just have like
It's like the elevator.
The garden in the middle.
Get there from going out from the same place.
So I think someone asked one of the Rebbeim about a room. We follow the heketz here. We follow the way the doorways go. So let's say there's a room inside the house that the doorway opens outward, and in order to get into the room, there's only this one door, and you're putting the mezuzah on the left side because the door opens outward. Pull the door out, so you put the mezuzah on the left, like as if you're only walking out of that room, as if like that room manufactures people, that people only walk out that way, right? That's what it looks like.
What if it's one of those rooms?
So how do you get into the room? How do you get into the room? One of the Rebbeim said, you go through the window. Now, it's unclear if he meant that as a, like, don't bother me type of thing, like, that's the fact. Or if he meant that, no, that room, if it has a window, then good. If it doesn't have a window, then then the person was right. It's unclear what anyway.
What about those gardens that are in the middle of the house?
That's what he's saying.
They have no roof.
Right.
And they only have one door.
Yeah, that's what he's at. That's Dr. Stein's question.
The whole question.
Dr. Stein and David have the same question. Very good.
I know.
So you could be a doctor. Okay, Itmar. Lul, Pasuach. Minabayas la'aliyah. A lul is a skylight. It's it's like a flat door. Aruba, it's called in some Mishnayos. It's the door that, like, you know, like what we would call the trap door. Yeah. What is it?
It should be a bottle.
Okay. So the only thing is that the way they would do these, because since two different people, one lived on the top, one lived on the bottom, so they didn't just want a trap door, because someone could like sneak in and would start looking, and like as they peek their head up, then all of a sudden they're looking inside, and they don't want people looking inside. You have to have privacy. So, so they would put up a door as well, and it would be like a little fence around the hole with the door. Like there would be a stairwell probably with a door, and there would be up top, there would be another door. So you would come up to the top, you would have to open a new door to come in. So basically there's two doors to this stairwell, and there's a flat thing that opens up in the middle. So Amar Rav Huna says, Im yesh lo pesach echad chayv b'mezuzachas. If there's one doorway, then you would have one mezuzah. V'im yesh lo shnei pesachim. If there's a doorway on the top as well, then it's chayv b'shtei mezuzahs. Then you'll have two doorways. Had a good coffee today.
Yeah, with a hot chocolate.
Okay. Amar Rav Papa says, Shema minami de Rav Huna, we can learn from Rav Huna, Hayedruna dislay arba bavi. According to this is a little surprising because for us there's no chiddush here. But he says if there would be a room that had four doorways, chayav bar mezuzahs, you chayav in four mezuzahs. We're like wondering, like, pshita, of course you chayav. It says leitzricha af al gav de ragal b'chad. Even though there's one doorway that we use most of the time, we don't say that the other doorways are batal. Now, Rashi over here discusses that this contradicts a Gemara that we had earlier. We said, yeah, we said that Rebbe had a doorway that went into the Beis Medrash. We said that. Remember what we said? We said that it didn't require mezuzah, right? He had a second door that he wasn't using. So Rashi goes through some differences here. He says, like, there's a difference between if there's one door that's not used or if there's three doors is different. And then he says also, it depends if it's one person or if it's many people. Whatever the case is, it would require very special conditions to be exempt from a mezuzah. But in a typical case, a room that has more than one door, is going to require a mezuzah for each door. That's in a typical case. So you would need a very special circumstances fit with all the criteria. Say that it's batal, it's not used, it's only one person to be batal. And by Rebbe they put a mezuzah. Yeah, is that what it said? After, what did we say? Oh, because of the spirit, because of the according to that Maram. Yeah.
Amen.
I
I said a bracha previously.
Excuse me.
Huh?
By time.
No, you are actually.
Yeah.
Actually, you are. Okay. Amar Meimar, what's wrong? He's going to kiss the mezuzah of the. Hai pischa da akrana. There, if there's a doorway that's on a corner, the doorway on a corner is really missing the posts, right? You're missing the. So it says chayv mezuzah, it's chayv mezuzah. Amle Ravashi la meimar v'lasei petzimin, but it doesn't have the doorpost. It just has the edges of the wall. So Amalei, so Ameimar says to Ravashi, Adei petzimin. This is its doorpost. That edges of the wall could also work as a doorpost. Rav Papa ikla lebei Mar Shmuel. Rav Papa came to the house of Mar Shmuel. Chazahu pischad leiha be'ela patzim echad mismala. It only had a doorpost on the left side. I guess it meant that there was a wall. Must have been a wall. But the frame was only on the left side. So, if Avila mezuzah, and he put a mezuzah on the left side. Amalei, so Rav Papa says to Shmuel, "Come on, who are you going like? Reb Meir, are you following Reb Meir? That he says, that says that one doorpost is enough to be chayv and mezuzah. Eimar da Amar Reb Meir miyamin. Reb Meir would only say that one doorpost is enough if it's on the right side, right? But mismal miyamar, does Reb Meir hold that you would chayv and mezuzah if the doorpost is on the left? And it says, Maihi, where are we getting this from? What's the background to this? The Tanya was taught in a brayso. It says Beisecha. Says you put a mezuzah on your house. That means you put it on the right side, going as entering in the house. You say that it's on the right side. Possibly it's on the left side. It says Beisecha. What does that tell me? Beisecha. My Talmud. What do you get from the word Beisecha? Amaraba derech biyascha. The way that you walk in. The way that you walk in is minayamin. Yakar in Ishkari, that when a person lifts his foot, the Yamina Akar, he lifts up his foot, his right foot first. Yamina Akar. Akar. And there's Beresha is the way it's added in Maseches Menachos. Okay.
Is that true? Do people tend to walk with the right foot first?
A righty.
Is that true that people who are right-handed walk with the right foot first?
No, it doesn't have to do with the right hand. Some people are right-handed, but they're left-footed. So a right-footed person walks with his right foot first. Yeah.
Think of when you go bowling. What foot do you take? What step do you take first?
Oh, you're right.
You
Goes
mean
bowling.
when you throw it?
My 5 years
The
old.
first step when you
the
start
first
to
step.
walk down. I think people go
5 years old, I'm going bowling.
I'll go bowling and
You're
but I think
thinking
it's
you
always the right.
put your legs apart and you roll the thing with the bumpers. He's talking about real bowling.
We learn a lot in this year.
I step with the left first.
That's by the
Yeah.
chalitza. That was the whole discussion. There was a chalitza a few weeks ago, and the person
Most people do three
that was
steps.
doing the chalitza, they took out a ball and they asked him to kick it. So the way he walked was he walked with his left foot first. The way he walked with his right foot first. When he kicked the ball, he kicked with his left foot. So they did chalitza on both feet because those are they were contradictory things. It was like ambidextrous with his feet.
Did she spit twice?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
I think she sped twice. I think so. No, I'm not sure. They had to take off both. I think the second part of it was when she spits. She threw both shoes. That's for sure. Okay. Rav Shmuel Baracha. Kameder Rav Papa. Rav Shmuel Baracha in front of Rav Papa. Shmeder Rava Bar Ula. Amar. He said. He has another source about the right side. It says Vikach Yada Kayan Arein Echad. Vikav Chor Bedalsei. Yada Kayan took the aron and he made a hole in its door. That when a person would come, he put it next to the mizbeach on the right side. When a person would come to the house of Hashem, the aron would be on his right side. And in that aron, in that chest, people would put all the money that was coming to the house of Hashem. So we learn from there that on the right side, the way people would walk is the right side first. Well, sort of. Okay.
I think we have that Tzedakah computer down there on the right side.
Yeah, very
That's
good.
why.
Oh, exactly. Okay. My Reb Meir, where did you get this opinion of Reb Meir that one mezuzah is enough? The tiny was started by the house that only has one door. Reb Meir mechayiv mezuzah v'cham paiter. Reb Meir says chayiv mezuzah. Some say that you part my time the Rabbanan. What's the reason for the Rabbanan that say that you need two mezuzahs? The Rabbanan say mezuzahs ksiv. It says in the pasuk mezuzahs. My time of the Reb Meir. Reb Moshe, you figured it out already, right? What's the reason for Reb Meir? The Tanya was taught in the Brisa, mezuzahs shma mina shemei ani mirit mezuzah shtayim. If it says mezuzahs, then I would understand that you have to have a minimal of two doorposts. Because Shwaimer mezuzahs parsha shniya shein talmud laimar. When it says mezuzahs in the second parsha, it's not necessary to say it again. It says mezuzahs twice. So then habi ribach ribay. Then it's a inclusion after a second inclusion, which that's never good. That's always coming to be mamayat. Ein ribach riba lamayat. That's coming to exclude. What comes out is that we're actually excluding one doorpost, and you really only need one doorpost. B'chayev and mezuzah. Rabbi Kiva Omer, ein tzarech, ein tzarech. This drasha is not necessary because Kishu Omer, when it says by Yitzias Mitzrayim, it says that Hashem went over and smote Egypt. He saw the blood on ala mashkif al shtei mezuzos. He saw the blood on the lintel, and on the two doorposts. Why does it have to say two doorposts? Ma talmud leimar shtei. Why does it have to say two? This is a precedent. This is a source. Kol makim shenemar mezuzos eina yala achas. Really, it only means one. Mezuzos means one. Until the pasuk clearly says two, like it says aid, right? Similar to the drasha when it says aid, aid. What does it say? Aid achas. So it says that really aid. Every time the pasuk says aid, it really means two. Right? You know, aid. When the pasuk says the word aid, it means two witnesses. Because one time it says one witness, so that means that, and if it doesn't specify, it always means two. Here, it's specified two, which means that it always means one.
Mezuzahs in the Torah is written with two vav.
Mezuzahs in the Torah is written with one vav. Taisvis on the top says, Mashma ktsas, diksivi mezuzah is malay bebeis vavin, v'lei mezuzah chaser. Why? Because Rabbi Shmuel is layem l'maseiris. Because Rabbi Shmuel in the Gemara Sanhedrin, there's a machlekes. I'm looking at the top Taisvis from Naphtali. Rabbi Shmuel in the Gemara Sanhedrin over there, if you remember that Gemara we spoke about, Leis Vashal Gedi B'Chalev Imai. There was a discussion how to read that. There was one way of reading it, B'Chalev, right? Chalev Imai, not in the milk, in the fat. There was another way of reading it. It says, no, you have to look at the way it's read, the way it's the vowels, the this. Anyway, in that discussion over there, it says that Rabbi Shmuel holds Yeshem L'Maseiris. There's a machlekes in general in the Gemara. When we make a drasha, if we follow the way that the Torah is written or the way the Torah is pronounced, do we follow the letters or do we follow the vowels? We don't use the words letters and vowels. We use the words tradition, which means text, Masora text, or mikra, the way it's read, like the Balkaira, the mikra, the way it's read. Rabbi Shmuel holds you follow the way it's written. If Rabbi Shmuel holds that, then Rabbi Shmuel over here is saying that mezuzais is plural. That means that the way it's written would have to be with an extra vav, and that's not the way we have it. Mi'ain rayim is that Tosfos says, because Rabbi Kiva holds Yeshem Lemikra, and he also holds Yeshem Lemasayir. So in other words, it's not consistent amongst the sages who holds what. Tosfos does this in other places also. He asks about Reb Shimon. Shimon in one place holds like this, another place he holds like that. He says it's not consistent if we follow the text or the vowels when it comes to the drushes.
Rabbi, one of the opinions here, it says that it has to be in the space of the door.
Yeah.
Outside.
No, within the frame of the door, underneath the.
So that doesn't mean that we're supposed to have it outside.
You put it as far out as possible, but within the frame.
So
in the door frame.
Okay.
You write it on the doorpost, right? Maybe you have to write it on the stones, right? You get your graffiti artist to come write a mezuzah on the wall. So, Nemar kan ksiva, Nemar la'alan ksiva. It says by us. It says you write, and it says by a get later on in Sefer which parsha is that? It says v'kasav l'sefer krisis, somewhere in the middle of Devarim Kiseitze or something. It says over there you write a get, maybe shreifta. Mala halan ala sefer, just like a get has to be written on a parchment, on a scroll. Afkan ala sefer, so too the mezuzah has to be written on a scroll. Oy kalach l'derech, so maybe go away from this way of learning. Nemar kan ksiva v'nemar la'alan ksiva. It says over there. It says here that you write it. It says over there you should write it. What is over there? It says by when they came over the Jordan River, it says they were supposed to write on the stones, the Torah. So just like a malahala and alavanim, afkan alavanim, just like over there it's on the stones, so too over here we should write the mezuzah on the stones. So the Gemara says near lemi daima. We have to see which one is a mezuzah more comparable to. Is it comparable more to a get, or is it comparable more to the passing over the Jordan? So don and ksiva ne'agas l'ders and ksiva ne'agas l'ders. We're going to use the writing that we have for all future generations is a better comparison. Okay, we have a whole novel over here going on with Dr. Stein's throwing the ex-wife into the Jordan. Okay, ve'in don and ksiva ne'agas l'ders. If you have a mezuzah that's for all future generations. So we're not going to learn from the writing that was done just in that one temporary time back in history. It says kasav al sefer over there. It must mean that you have to write it on a parchment. Okay, so we have that source that we learned from a get, and also it says that somewhere in the Navi, I guess in Yirmiyah, that Baruch was a student of Baruch ben Neriah, was a student of Yirmiyah, right? He was a scribe of Yirmiyah Navi. He was going to write the Megillah of Eicha, and because he didn't, we had this before that he wasn't going to recite it as he was writing it. Usually, when it's dictated, he would dictate it back and then inscribe. But here was just going to write it. Okay, Amalei Ravacha Brei Rabba Ravashi. Moshe would always repeat, except for the last eight psukim, according to one opinion, right? Rachmana Amar Ravacha Brei Rabba says to Ravashi, Rachmana Amar Al Mezuzes. Va'at Amret Neilach Ksiva Ksiva. Well, look at what you're doing. Hashem says that you have to write it on the doorpost. And you're making this rabbinic, learning out this drushes, and you made the ksiva. You end up switching what Hashem says. So Ravashi says back, Amar Kra, Chsavtam, Ksiva Tama. It says in the pasuk, Chsav Tam. You should write it. Tam is the object, is the subject, is the object. Tam. You will write them. You will write them. The them is the object. You will write them. Tam. That's the difference. One parsha we say ukshartem, one parsha we say ukshartam. Remember? Shema? What's the difference? One is ukshartem and one is ukshartam. So when it says ukshartem, the following word is ukshartem oisam. It has the object. You will tie them. But in Hebrew, you don't have to have the object separated from the word. You can actually put the object in together with the verb. Except ukshartam means you tie them. The switches it. Anyway, okay, whatever.
So which one are we supposed to use?
Oh, in each there's two paragraphs. One says ukshartem, one says ukshartam. I'm just pointing out that the meaning is different. Ukshartam is more of a compound word. It has more words in that one Hebrew word. Okay, so chsav tam, the Gemara learns what's the tam? Tama. That means perfect writing. That could only be on a parchment. And then it goes al mezuzah. First the chsav tam, first you write it perfectly, and then you put it on the doorpost. So then why do you have to tell me the whole thing with the ksiva from the get? It says ilav gzer shava amina lichteveya avna v'lichva seifa. I could have thought that you write it on the stone and you put the stone into the doorpost. Kamash Malon, it has to tell me chsav tam. It has to tell me that the kasav al sefer from the get. It tells me that you write it on a parchment, and then you put it onto the wall.
Is the tam similar to like tam Yela Shemin?
Yeah, perfect. Our parchment. Yeah, go ahead.
Say, where did we have the discussion about riding on a horn?
That was in Hanukkah. That was by Hanukkah. The Greeks wanted us to kisvel lachem al keren ashar, she'ein lachem chelek l'kei Yisrael, right on the horn of the ox, that you don't have any portion in the God of Israel. Yeah, I explained that it's referring to the education, because they used to use the horn of ox as a milk bottle, and so they wanted it to be on the baby's horn already, that they don't believe in Hashem. That was the Greeks.
Did we have this similar discussion in Get when we were learning Gittin?
Oh, the way it was written.
Maybe it's in the Shulchan Aruch, not in the Gemara. I don't know.
Yeah. So over there, we didn't need any of the drushes because it says clearly that you have to write it on a scroll.
On a sefer. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we're switching topics a little bit because we're headed to actually quite a famous Gemara, Machlekes Rashi and Taisvis, and Rashi Tefillin Rabbeinu Tam. I don't know if we're going to get to it, but above Parsha Shebetfillin Makvir Zuasu. 4 portions of the Tefillin. Evan, you know what the 4 portions are? Shema, Vahim Shemaya, Hadashli Kol B'char, and Vahi Kiviyacha. Those are the 4 portions. In other words, there's 4 places in the Torah where it talks about the Tefillin.
No Tishkenu.
So we take those 4 paragraphs, we write them on scrolls, and we put them inside the shell of Reish in different compartments, and then the Shel Yad, we put it all on one scroll inside. Gemara says, excuse me, you have to have all four. You don't have all four, you're not yotze. Each one is essential. Even missing one letter would ruin the whole thing. The Gemara says, Pshita. We know that if you're missing one letter. We have other sources for it. It says, V'hayu l'taitafais, and it will be as taitafais, which we translate in the English, so they're probably as frontlets. And it says Vahayu. So whenever it says Vahayu, Havaya, Vahayu, it shall be, we always know that that's Ma'akiv. Rav Yehuda says in the name of his teacher Rav, Leinitzcha, Ela L'Kaitzai Shal Yod. It's referring to the Kaitzai Shal Yod. We had this before by the same Gemara, by Mezuzah. It's referring to the Kaitzai Shal Yod, the point of the Yod. Well, Vanami Pshita, that's part of the Yod. The Gemara says, Leinitzchel le'idach, Rav Yehuda. It's coming to tell me the other halacha of Rav Yehuda, Dam Rav Yehuda Marav, Kol Oish She'ein Gvil Mukafla, Mi'abaruch Cheseb Psula, that it needs to be, every letter needs to be surrounded by white parchment. Right? You can't have the letters touching it, you can't have a letter against the hole or against the end. So it has to be always, each one has to be surrounded by white. Tana Rabbanon, take a look at the top of the page, Lamed Dalet Amud Beis. We had that before by Mezuzah, the same Gemara that we had by. Now we're talking about Tefillin, so we're repeating the Tana Rabbanan. It was taught in a Brisa. It says in the Parsha of Shema. It says l'taitafais. And then it says in Parsha Vayim Shmaya l'taitafais. It says in Vahayakiviacha l'taitafais. Now notice that this l'taitafais has an extra vav. See, the first two are without a vav, and the third one has a vav. Hari kan arba. That's telling me 4. Why? Because 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. The plural of taitafais in the third one tells me 4. Div Rabbi Shmuel, that's the way Rabbi Shmuel gets the 4 portions. Rabbi Kiva says, "Ein tzarach, I don't need that drasha. Tat bekaspi, in Caspian, I don't know if that's a word. It's the word tat means shtayim, means 2. Pas ba'afriki in Afrikaans, the word pas means 2. Means shtayim means 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. There's 2 different languages there, but so what? Yeah, it's a mixture of 2 languages, and that's telling us 4. Tan Rabbanan.
So does this work if you assume that all languages are derivative from Hebrew?
It would still work.
I'm saying, do you have to believe that for this to work? Otherwise, what does Rabbi Akiva care what another language says?
No, I guess what Rabbi Akiva would be saying is that the Torah is using different languages in its own. It's incorporating other languages, like there's Egyptian words in the Torah. There's other languages.
So others maintain that they're actually Hebrew words, but they are incorporated into the new languages that appear at that time. Very Hebrew origins.
Yitzi is telling me from the Art Scroll that there were actually Hebrew words that were incorporated into other languages at the time of the dispersion, but their Hebrew origin was forgotten. Yeah.
That's interesting. Thank you, Yitzi.
Thank you, Art Scroll.
Rabbi Scroll.
Paid attention.
So, Avraham Balafia, he held that all the 70 languages and the 70 interpretations of the Torah. He says that each language gives you another interpretation. He says that when you take a word and you translate it into this language, into that language, every language has a different nuance to it. You know what the meaning of it is. I don't know, a shulchan or a table or a tish. Or each language has a different sense to it, and as you translate it into all 70, you get the full meaning of the word. But Hebrew incorporates all of them. So the folder comes back again. It's like all of them.
They always write.
It's a nuance. In other words, the essence of it incorporates all of those, but each one is another. Anyway,
What's the language of the Zohar and the
Aramaic.
And the Aramaic. Does Aramaic have any special,
like in general, what each one would represent.
as far as compared to other languages?
I'm not sure. I'm not.
Neil's on, right?
I'm sorry, Daniel. Then no, he's not. But I knew a guy that thought that he had worked out like the different languages of each one, like what the
Man, you know the most interesting people.
and he was making a dictionary that
Where do you
would
meet these guys?
that would put four languages of the Torah together, and then you would be able to get different. And he wanted to say that this is the father's version of the Torah. This is the mother's version. He says this is the son's version. This is the daughter's version of the Torah. Because each one would have its own messages, and anyway, that was his theory. Whatever, and it based on different languages like that.
You say you had, are you talking about yourself?
Isn't there a theory that the original language is Aramaic?
Yeah, there is a medrash that the original language is Aramaic. Yeah.
So this would
And
be
many people say the original language was Yiddish.
Oh, those guys.
No.
Well, when the Torah was originally written, was
Because, yeah, that's the font. That's the font, but the language would have been Hebrew. Would have been okay. I guess we'll stop at Tanur Rabbana. We're not the top Tanur Rabbana, the second Tanur Rabbana, and the 3 lines down. Okay. Have a good day. I'll be away on Sunday. I'll be here Friday. I'll be away on Sunday.